Welcome, welcome, welcome to Gruber Power Hour. I'm Erica.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Pete Gruber. We're here. We're going to have fun today. It's a day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm a little turkeyed out.
So, yesterday I was looking at the podcast for today. We're sending out an email right now to all of our customers saying, hey, we've got some cool podcasts here. The one we did last week was on raised floor, access floor, which of course is in every data center or should be. Otherwise, you can't hide your plumbing. And I was going to do one on electricity today. Now, picture this. I started cooking at 4:30 in the morning yesterday, the turkey, because I'm the designated cook in the family. Yeah. And I was worn out by noon because, man, that's a lot of work, right?
It is.
So by 2 o'clock, the bird's supposed to come out and all that. And I'm chilling a bit. And then, of course, you got the company thing. We've got 16 people, their family, right? Yeah. Granddaughters everywhere and all that. So by about 7 o'clock last night, it was finally over with. And I thought, I got to get ready for the podcast tomorrow morning, right? And I'm dead tired, right? So anyway, it was going to be on electricity. And I looked at it and I thought, do we really want to talk about electron flow and phase relationships between phases this morning? No. I think most people are probably feeling like I am. And so anyway, what we're going to do today is, as the title says, why do we exist? Why are we doing this? So that's a place that I thought we could start this podcast.
Yeah, and we're not talking about the meaning of life.
Yes.
As to why we exist. That's a whole nother fun topic. But today we're diving into the world of Gruber Power Services and, hold on to your headphones.
Yeah. So, we are typically doing battle with the OEMs, which is other equipment manufacturer.
Yeah, we are.
They're the guys that make the UPSs. And of course, they love us on one hand because we sell the hell out of their equipment.
Yep.
We're one of the largest,
resellers,
probably the largest critical power reseller in the world.
Yep.
On the flip side, though, they hate our guts because we sell service contracts.
Because we're the superpower of the superhero of the power industry.
And we like to, when we sell a UPS or critical power, we like to offer a service agreement along with that, since we have a nationwide service delivery program.
Yeah, we're not like the manufacturers that charge more than a coffee shop.
Yeah, and of course that provides competition for the very same people that we're buying this type of equipment from. Yeah. So we thought we would spend a little bit of time talking about our strengths and weaknesses and the OEM strengths and weaknesses. We both have them.
Yeah.
And one of the things that resonates with the type of customers that we attract is that we have a lot of expertise, even though we don't make the equipment.
Exactly.
The OEMs typically outsource their sales.
Why do they do that?
Well, the fundamental reason there is they're used to it. They used to in the old days before the internet.
Because their salespeople were used. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
In the last century, the way to take a manufactured product to market was through a manufacturer's rep, which is essentially where you gave up your ability to deal directly with an end user.
Exactly.
And you gave that to the manufacturer's rep, whose job it was to then represent you and sell your equipment, either through limited distribution and oftentimes to end users direct. So many of these OEMs in the critical power world are from ancient history, and they never adapted, right?
No, the pyramid.
Yeah. So they're not used to having their own sales staff. They don't quite understand that skill and the how to run a call center and what the metrics are. And so
we have real people that are offering a real special service and a real specialty.
So when they outsource the sales, they don't end up with the type of people that are totally committed. And let me explain that. A manufacturer's rep's job isn't to represent one company. No, never.
Nope.
Their job is to represent a group of products within a particular discipline or product line.
Right.
Take, for example, automotive. An automotive manufacturer rep that calls on the Checker Autos and the AutoZones and all those, they're going to have a wide range of product. They're going to have cleaning services. They're going to have windshield wipers. They're going to have starter motors. And all of these products are from different manufacturers. So the first problem with dealing with manufacturers or selling through manufacturers rep is you're not going to get 100% of their attention.
Nope.
And
You're
then
a number.
Yeah, then you have training issues.
Yeah.
You know, for somebody to get good at selling something as technical as critical power, you have to be pretty experienced and focused.
Absolutely.
If
And
you're-
willing to learn consistently because it doesn't stop changing.
Yeah. And if you're selling handy wipes and tires and wheels and windshield wipers and
Yeah.
chemicals and cleaning supplies, you're never going to gain the expertise. So that's the first strength that a company like us has in independent critical power
Yep.
is that we specialize in critical power. We're not selling the other stuff.
Having malfunction. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's one of the primary reasons.
Yeah. Could you imagine going to like get your car fixed and then a robot greets you and asks you if you tried turning your car on and off again?
All right. Yeah.
There's no expertise there.
So that is a strength that we have. A second strength in independent service and sales like we are, one brand doesn't fit all. One
No.
shoe size isn't, for everyone. So oftentimes, if it's a small UPS, well, then maybe it's a trip light. Maybe it's a, small APC unit. If it's a large component level UPS or a, scalable UPS,
Right.
then we're looking at APC, Mitsubishi, a whole bunch of different vendors. So what we're able to do is sell something that has been carefully analyzed, is unbiased.
Yeah. And we have skin in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we are going to end up with service most likely.
Right.
We want to make sure that that thing functions properly for that
Absolutely.
customer.
Not only for their reassurance, but, down the line, it's like we want to provide a service to our customers and an ability for our customers to consistently have uptime, not have downtime just to sell them something they don't need.
Yeah. So those are the reasons that independent maintenance tends to flourish. Now you get into the service realm.
Okay.
That's a whole nother
The ballpark.
ball of wax. If your site, your data center, or data centers plural, is monolithic, it's all Vertiv, or it's all APC, or it's all PowerWare, which of course is completely impossible because you're going to have purchasing agents that are going to purchase the best price product or preferences at the IT level. The IT managers, they came from another shop where they had a certain brand, they liked that brand.
Yeah.
Well, now you have to bring in a whole bunch of different service vendors to keep your equipment running. When you deal with independent maintenance like us, we service all brands.
Yeah, we're the company that picks the restaurant and insists on you having a good time.
And we offer all of the various dishes versus just one type or one style.
Yeah, for all the foodies out there, you get it.
And there's another important reason for that. In data centers, uptime is paramount. That's
Absolutely.
what everything centers around. Now, picture this. You've got 5 different brands of UPSs in your data center, maybe even 10.
Yeah.
When it comes time for preventive maintenance, guess what? You're going to have to
You
bring
have
in
5 OEMs.
5 to 10 different OEMs. And anytime
That's not efficient. I don't care who you
anytime
are.
you do preventive maintenance, you run the risk of downtime. How many times has your load been dropped because during preventive maintenance, something didn't go right? The automatic transfer switch didn't function properly. The bypass switch wasn't hooked up correctly by the electrician.
Yep.
So what ends up happening is with independent maintenance, we come in and we service all the brands at one time.
That's right.
And your preventive maintenance session is once for that 6-month period or however often.
Yeah, it's an
you have it done.
individualized support.
Yep.
We offer more than an OEM could ever dream to offer outside of the product.
Right. And then you have a variety of different types of UPSs, for example. You've got static UPSs, you've got flywheel UPSs, you've got scalable, you've got component type UPSs. In independent maintenance and sales, we're able to select the best solution for that customer based on a number of different options available. And, we're not going to cram it down your throat. We're going to give you options, and then we're going to educate and tell you what the advantages and disadvantages of each are. You're not going to get an OEM to do that. They're not going to tout the virtues of their competitor's product, even though for that application, it may be a better
Probably
solution.
would work better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of customers that even have like the older best powers, and they want to continue to maintain them. They want to continue to find parts for it. They don't want to have to buy from the OEM and source from the OEM and go through the OEM. It's like they want to buy local. They want to work with the local companies, and it just makes more sense. It really does.
So another thing that happens with a company that's as large as we are in the critical power business is we have some of the support products that go along with it. We have batteries manufactured for us under private label arrangement to our specification. So we can not only offer you that critical power equipment, whether that's a UPS, whatever it is, lighting inverter, but we also can supply batteries that were specifically designed for various brands and various applications.
Yeah, we offer you, less fluff, more action.
Yeah. All right. Should we talk about service a bit?
Let's go.
Yeah. So service options. Now, the first objection that we typically get when we talk about our service capability is, yeah, but you didn't make it. How are you going to get your parts? Right? Where are the parts coming from?
Yeah, we buy UPS.
We buy directly from the OEMs. Well, what if the OEM isn't friendly and doesn't want to sell you parts? Well, they can't. They're legally bound to sell us parts.
They have to.
They sometimes play dirty games and extend things a bit, but we get around that.
Yeah, we know how to be dirtier.
Well, especially if we're buying equipment from them.
Right.
They tend to favor and take good care of us because they don't want to lose our sales ability.
Absolutely. We are their customer ultimately, and we're going to get you the best price as our customer and the best service, more bang for your buck. I think that our commitment is going to be at the level of service that you expect, not just want. There's an expectation level, and we meet that expectation, and then we exceed that expectation with the remaining of the services that we offer.
So let's talk about broader services as well. Okay, granted, PowerWare can certainly sell you a wide range of all of the UPSs and critical power equipment that they manufacture. But let's say that you've got an intermittent problem in your data center that goes beyond the equipment.
Yeah, the OEM can't really help you with that.
No, they're not going to open an electrical panel. They're not going to do a power analysis.
No.
They're not going to do load bank testing. They're dedicated to their equipment. A company like us, independent maintenance, is able to come in and take a holistic approach to your data center.
Absolutely.
And the reason I speak to that, when I worked for Digital Equipment Corporation, God, it's been 40 years now or something.
Really?
Like that. Yeah. Late 70s, early 80s.
How liberating.
There was the field engineers were repairing, of course, their mainframe computers. And there were times when they just couldn't nail a fix.
Right.
And the reason was there were external factors that were causing the failure in the computer. One comes to mind here in town at the Eaton warehouse up on Buckeye and way west of here. They had an automated warehouse that had PDP 1170 mainframe computers that were constantly going down, and the software people were out there, district support was out there, corporate support. Everybody. They even swapped the machines. We're talking about gigantic boxes that weighed a half a ton.
Oh, my gosh.
It wasn't fixing the problem. Now you start to look at external problems or sources for that intermittent operation.
Niche, specialties.
Yep. And the way to find that was to do a power analysis. And what we ended up finding was after hooking a Dranet 606 power analyzer on their circuits that were feeding the mainframes, the power was glitching. It was actually spiking at times. It was dropping off. And it turns out that there were loose connections underneath the access floor in the outlets that were causing this.
And they spent like $100,000 or more.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It was probably
Gruber.
a hungover electrician's helper that wasn't tightening the receptacles properly. And it would work for a while until some vibration occurred or something occurred, people walking across the floor even. And that's what ended up fixing it. The way you find this, though, is...
And how was that found out? How was that found? Did they call you in or someone in?
The job that I was doing before I left Digital was the environmental consultant and pre-sale support. So I would do two things. I would prepare a customer for what it took to get this mainframe in their facility. You had special cooling. You had clean power issues. Back then, it was even fire suppression with halon. We
Right.
can't do that anymore because it puts
No.
a hole in the ozone layer, right?
Yeah. So do cows farting.
And yeah, I didn't know that. Methane. There you go. So we ended up, and two things I was doing. The other, of course, was remedial things. When the field engineers couldn't fix a problem on site, it persisted. Then people like me would come in, do power analysis. Now, that includes not just monitoring the power levels, the quality of power, but also getting into the electrical circuits.
Yeah.
And picture this. What's feeding those big mainframe computers, or today the big server cabinets, is being fed from circuit breaker panels
Oh.
that are being fed by conversion transformers.
Oh,
You either
right.
have
Yep.
high voltage coming in 480 to 208 or even higher voltage that are feeding the circuit breaker panels that are eventually feeding out to the branch circuits
Right.
underneath access floor typically to the pieces of equipment or to the server racks. Well, again, if you have a sloppy electrician
Yeah.
or you've had time go by, it's not uncommon for circuit breaker connections to loosen up
Yeah.
with age.
Yep.
And the way you find that is it generates heat. You have resistance now. Unlike a loose connection like they had at Revlon at
Right.
with the Eaton warehouse. And the way you find that is with an infrared camera.
Huh.
You take off the cover on the circuit breaker panel, which is part of the diagnosis, and the infrared camera will reveal hot spots.
Okay.
So if you have a loose connection, that circuit breaker will basically light up orange and yellow, depending on the amount of resistance and the amount of heat that it's generating.
That makes sense.
Now, again, we're talking about who can do this for you. Well,
I put one double.
hi there. The guys that built the UPSs aren't going to come in there and dig into your electrical system. They're not going to do a power analysis and a power study.
Oh.
It's independent maintenance like us that has this broad range of services and the skills to do this type of discovery.
Yeah, you don't have the willingness to do this job for no reason. Like, we are the insurance.
All right, so continuing with this then, differentiating ourselves from the OEMs,
Yes.
why we exist.
Mm.
You may have a generator if you have a large data center installation. And the reason for the generator is when you have a power outage, your static UPS is going to provide uninterrupted power for a period of time depending on your battery system. And that's usually in the neighborhood of 7 to maybe 15 minutes.
Right. I don't understand people with these 2-hour run times. That's a lot of batteries.
Oh, it's not cost effective.
No.
It's cheaper at that point to buy a generator outside.
Yeah.
And the way that works is batteries, of course, are very expensive, especially when you're trying to get 2-hour run times. And you have to change those every 3 to 5 years. So you have this continuing expense. So it's more cost effective to put an engine generator outside the building with an automatic transfer switch that senses that you've had a power outage.
Yeah.
And a timer function occurs.
Yep.
And just before that 7-minute or 15-minute battery ride through that you have, the engine generator now is called on to turn on through this automatic transfer switch. And when the power becomes stable on the generator side,
Right.
then the automatic transfer switch switches to the UPS.
Yep.
And now the UPS is no longer getting power from the dead utility at this point, but it's getting power from the generator. And guess what happens then? It starts recharging your batteries.
Right.
And you get clean power because all your equipment is being fed by the uninterruptible power
Right.
system.
So there isn't that disturbance and it won't
Right.
re-trigger that.
Now, if it's a long-term type outage, which could happen during a hurricane, for example,
Yeah.
the utility's not going to restore power within an hour
Absolutely
or even
not.
24, 48 hours if it's a natural disaster. This is where your engine generator now comes in.
Yep.
The only Achilles heel to an engine generator functioning long-term is the ability to get fuel
Correct.
to that generator.
Yeah. Don't most of them have fuel on site specifically for that reasoning?
It depends on the criticality of that site. And yes, you're right. They'll oftentimes have storage tanks
Yeah.
to cover that kind of eventuality.
Yeah, that's intelligent.
Again, getting back to who can service your equipment, that PowerWare OEM is not going to fix your engine generator.
No, we're going to be more reliable than your last tender date.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what the OEM can provide. And not to bash the OEM because they provide the product, but they can't provide the services that an independent can provide because they don't have the wide range of expertise. They have people that are very narrow-minded, very targeted, and it's all specifically to their own in-house product. The Veritiv guys don't know the Eaton equipment. The Eaton guys don't know the APC equipment. We know all that equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and you don't want an Eaton guy working on your
No.
Yeah, on your APC. I was going to say PowerWare. They're both the same. Eaton, PowerWare. You know, they keep on merging. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, everyone's buying everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe if you, I don't know, did a little more in-house services. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Customer retention. I think in-house salespeople, like the people that we have here at Gruber, they not only have a wide range of knowledge and expertise, but they have those personal skills that you're able to actually communicate effectively with our with the customer and with our salespersons. And we're not providing you a soggy frozen pizza. We are providing you information that you can take away, and we're providing you free services that you don't even have to pay for just because we care.
Mm-hmm. Very good point. And, you know, things like battery testing, for example, the OEMs do that.
Yeah.
If it's connected to their equipment, they oftentimes even provide the batteries with their equipment.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that they are good at and they're obligated to do.
Yeah.
But things like thermal imaging that we talked about to isolate intermittent problems
They
or
can't
problems they
tackle
can't
that.
resolve. No, they don't have the expertise. They don't even have the authorization from their corporate people to do work like that
Absolutely
on
not.
the site. All right.
Yeah. I just think when power goes out, think Gruber.
And, you know, we probably should point out the similarities. The OEMs do offer 24/7 service.
Only on their equipment.
Yes, only on their equipment. They do have multiple locations around the United States.
Okay.
That's also something that they offer. And so there is some advantage to working with them if you're sold on the fact that you have to work with an OEM.
Yeah. I think any business owner or purchasing agent or operations person, and I say this to people when I'm talking to them, it's like when I was in the shipping industry, I didn't just get one quote.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just always put all my apples into one basket, or eggs, as other people say, in one basket. You have to have the right person for the phone call that you have to make. And as a business owner, if you have Gruber within your industry, then you really, truly have a partner. There's no maybe they'll be there. There's no maybe they'll have it. It's how can I help you? When do you need it? What's your budget? I'll give you a call right back with your solution. Like, that's what we offer.
And let's talk about some of the objections that we hear.
Yeah.
All right. When we sell one of our service agreements, the typical question is, well, are you guys factory trained and authorized?
Yeah.
Well, the first part there, well, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
The second part is OEMs are competition in the service side. Mm-hmm. They're not going to authorize a competitor.
No.
They steer clear of that intentionally.
Absolutely.
So are we factory trained? Well, guess who we hire? It's a small industry. And, you know, the field engineers that are moving around the industry come from various disciplines, various OEMs, and they're factory trained. And the other thing is that that often comes up, well, what about documentation?
Right.
How do you handle that? The OEMs, you know, they made it. They have schematics, they have test point data and all that. We've been doing this for 40 years. And one of the things that we found early on is we're not going to get a competitor to share their intellectual property
Absolutely
with us.
not. Would you?
Exactly. So what we learned to do, any company like us, reverse engineering.
Absolutely.
We develop our own schematics.
Yep.
We develop our own test point data. And oftentimes we exceed the information that's available to the field engineers from that the OEMs have. A prime example of that is our Gruber Motor Company Tesla repair shop.
Yep. That is a fantastic example.
Yeah. You know, the Tesla Roadster, for example, Tesla has very little of the documentation left for this car. Guess who has the majority of the information about a Tesla Roadster? It's us.
Yeah.
And it's because for years we've been reverse engineering that little car
Yep.
and developed our own schematics and found aging data. We generally create tech tips that we share with Tesla. And this is one of those cases where you pay it forward.
Right.
We feel that by sharing this type of information, there's going to be a reciprocal action. And there has
Absolutely.
been with Tesla. The critical power OEMs aren't quite that evolved yet. They're
No.
still thinking that, a competitor is a competitor. Every competitor is 100% overlap. We see them as an adversary, and we're not going to
I've always
support them.
partnered with my competitors.
Exactly. No competitive overlap is ever 100%,
No.
and a smart business person plays the synergies.
Correct.
So anyway, to overcome that objection, yes, we have documentation, we have test point data, we have all of that. We have that, and oftentimes more than the OEM.
Yeah. And then our remote monitoring also can be useful in those situations too, to provide you information in real time, even when a human can't.
Safety training, that's another big issue. Safety training and compliance. Well, in the critical power world, no one has a monopoly on that kind of training. It has to do with voltages, high voltages, weight considerations, all of that. That is an industry norm. You don't need to have an OEM that dictates and creates special requirements for that.
Couldn't do it anymore. Sorry.
Okay, you're fine.
Squeezing on them.
So yeah, safety, very important. Tools and equipment, a lot of it is off the shelf. Insulated tools, for example. No OEM makes tools. Industry certifications, well, that depends on, what industry is willing to give you a certification.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from a technical expertise standpoint, we're right there.
Yeah. You can rely on Gruber to be a solution-oriented partner. That's what I don't know any other thing to say about us out as an end result. Like, we are going to find you the solutions to your problems, your power distribution, your generators, your electrical, your access flooring. There's not many partners that are going to allow that into your partnership. They're going to try to gain something more out of you and your wallet rather than find the solution. Like, the solution isn't in their initial mind frame. It's how can I make a buck?
So let's talk about the cost, since you brought it up,
Yeah.
wallet, all right? Why is independent maintenance more cost effective?
Because we don't have all of that significantly stupid overhead.
That we're not doing the research and development on new products.
No.
We don't create the product. And that, of course, is an investment, and that has to come from somewhere.
Yep.
But one of the other reasons that we've already talked about, when we send out field engineers to do preventive maintenance, it's a one-time trip. It's not
Right.
5, 6, 10 times different vendors coming out.
Yeah.
So there's a cost savings there for the customer and for the service organization.
That's right. It's our mission to make research more about our customers than what we're doing. We have the expertise in the services and in the products that we provide. What we don't always have is the expertise on what the customer is physically wanting, because when we're trying to talk to them about that, a lot of customers are very set in their ways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to get them to open up to the innovative idea of utilizing independent rather than OEM, because it's been driven down their throat. It's like hearing the war on drugs for like 20 something years, and now everything's that thing's fault. It's something that for some reason was implanted in your head, and you believe that that's the only solution, and it's not. It's not.
And then, finally, tenured account managers. We're blessed, the Gruber companies, with retaining people.
Absolutely.
There are people that have been here over a decade,
Yeah.
oftentimes 2 decades. And during that time, they've amassed not just a customer base, but expertise.
Yeah.
They've made it their life's calling to become very good at critical power issues.
Yes.
And that directly translates into success with our customers.
100%. To be able to pick up the phone and get an answer from somebody, no matter the time, and be able to get a solution from them, I don't think you can pay for that.
Oh, that's invaluable. Yeah. And it doesn't happen oftentimes when companies have high churn, they have turnover, and, and especially in an outsourced type arrangement.
Yeah, there is this, and I can speak from experience, is that you cannot trust large corporations to retain their account managers because they're overtraining them for a future somewhere else.
So it looks like we're coming to the close on this podcast. We usually keep these to half an hour. Doesn't look like we have any other comments that we can address.
Is there anything else, Jesse, over there? Oh, he's putting up a question.
All right. Well, we'll give it a few seconds here. And
I hope if anybody wants to talk about their Thanksgiving, got a couple minutes. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, we really appreciate our audience.
Can I stabilize the waveform by adding a capacitor at the output of the inverter? Oh, the THD valve.
Oh, total harmonic distortion. Okay. Of the voltage increased by about 7%. Can I stabilize the waveform? It's usually transformer-based to begin to work on the total harmonic distortion. As far as using capacitors, I would have to get with our engineers and figure out if that is a possible solution for you. Need a bit more information. Is this a device that is connected to something that generates a lot of harmonics, like MRI machines, for example?
Right.
And,
can you email gut@gruber.com? And then I would love to be able to get you in contact with the right people and to help you figure that out. That sounds like a fun project.
Well, there's a good podcast there too, because things like arc flash and total harmonic distortion and KVA versus KW, those are all relevant topics in this industry, and there's a lot of confusion.
There is. A lot of people don't understand the difference between kilowatt hour and kilovolt. But okay, well, hey, it's been a great day today, and I think we're going to go take a nap from the turkey. I hope everybody has a blessed day, a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us on Gruber Power Hour. We'll see you next week. America.